Hello and welcome to the Mulberry Career Conversation. My name is Laura Back. I'm the Director of Marketing at Mulberry Talent Partners. I'm going to give everyone just about 30 more seconds to log in. Okay. So as I mentioned, my name is Laura Back. I'm the Director of Marketing at Mulberry Talent Partners. If you're new to us, welcome. We're so glad to have you here today. We are a full service staffing and recruiting agency headquartered in Portland, Oregon. We specialize in the professional placement of human resources, administrative, professional, and financial office, accounting, payroll, and operations positions for direct hire, temp to hire, and contract positions. If you're new to us, like I said, welcome. Be sure to visit us at mulberrytalent.com, where you can see all of the links to recordings of previous career conversations, upcoming career conversations, and then also our job board, where we are posting jobs like crazy. So be sure to check us out. I'll have a link at the end of the presentation as well. Jumping right in just to introductions. We are joined today by Lauren Francis, who is our fabulous founder and president. Lauren founded Mulberry Talent Partners in June of 2017 and brings over 25 years of talent acquisition experience. We're also joined today by Robyn Dold. Welcome, Robyn. We're so glad to have you here. Robyn brings over 25 years of experience managing teams and 15 years of experience managing talent acquisition teams with some very well-known Portland names, including Banfield Pet Hospital, Knowledge Universe, Columbia Sportswear, and now Fisher Investments. So without further ado, I'm going to go on ahead and pass it over to Lauren and Robyn. And we want this session to be really interactive. So if you have any questions that come up, please feel free to use the Q&A button here on Zoom, and we will be sure to try to get to all of the questions that come in. Take it away, Lauren and Robyn.
Great. Well, thank you so much. It's great to be with all of you today, and we appreciate you joining us. Robyn and I have been connected for a number of years, and we welcome you to our Mulberry Career Conversation webinar. And today we're talking about really Robyn's experience in working in corporate recruiting, and it really, and just for her to share her perspective and her experience, as well as some tips and for our candidates in terms of how to get noticed when presenting a resume or submitting a resume to a corporate role. So I will pass the microphone over to Robyn, and let's get started.
Thank you so much, Lauren. And I'm so excited to be here. First of all, the opportunity that we have to help people find jobs is tremendous right now. We're in a state of an environment that we've never really experienced, and we're not quite sure how to handle it. So anytime that we can come together and help each other, then we're doing the right thing. And so I'm really looking forward to being able to maybe pull back the curtain a little bit on what it looks like behind the scenes for hiring, so you can see what corporations are doing and how you can do small things, and usually they are pretty small, that will help get your either foot in the door or at least your resume seen, so you have an opportunity to hopefully talk with a recruiter, or even better yet, a hiring manager or somebody who can influence hiring decisions, and see if you're a fit for that organization and vice versa. So with that being said, I'd love to kick it off with kind of pull back the curtain just a little bit as to what happens behind the scenes. And then we can go into talking about the things that you can do, as well as some other things that might make a difference in this world that we find ourselves in, which is much more work from home. Because it is a little bit of a different hiring environment than we've ever experienced before. So as individuals, we're feeling it, and as companies, we're feeling it as well. So some of the things you might not know that happen behind the scenes in recruitment are that we truly are looking to hire the best talent. And that talent may or may not need experience, but what we're really looking for is somebody who comes not only with experience if needed, but if not, who's got that the ability to really show what they can do. So your resume is your first introduction to us. So we see that resume, and we have to make judgment calls based on what you put in there. So what most companies do, or any company that has what we call an applicant tracking system, any of your keywords that match our keywords will help raise you up in our ability to connect you to that job quicker. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a phone call, because there could be literally hundreds of you that match that job. However, if your keywords in your resume match the keywords in our job posting that we posted out there, we're more likely to see you and be able to take that first introduction of your resume and be able to compare it with what we need. And so how you fill out your resume and send that in, tailoring it to the company that you're applying for, is really, really important, because that truly is going to be one of those things that will raise you up in the list. So please, by all means, really pay attention to those job postings and tailor your resume with the keywords that are from that. Another thing that you might not realize is that not every job has the same process for interviewing. So some jobs will have just 2 people who interview you, and then we can make a decision. Some jobs may be much longer in process based on skill sets that are needed. Is it highly technical? Is it a position that requires a lot of experience? And so therefore there might be 5, 6, I've seen as many 10 people in a part of an interview process. So that will be one thing, that once you get your foot in the door into the interview process, ask those questions. And, how many interviews, can I be expected to go through? And how long does this process normally take? Because the one thing that we don't want to do as a company is lose you in that process. We want to get engaged with you, and we would like you to stay engaged with us as well. So it is okay for you to give us phone calls, and it's okay to send emails and ask those questions, because we want to make sure that we're continually being engaged with you, even if a process takes much longer than we would like it to. Also, if you're not hearing back from someone, again, I want to just reiterate that, reach out. It's okay. Please do reach out. Reach out to your recruiter or the last person you spoke to. That is absolutely okay, and we highly encourage it. And I would expect most companies should be reaching out to you on a regular basis throughout the interview process. We encourage our recruiters to reach out at least weekly. Sometimes that may not happen, but we definitely encourage it. So please work with that recruiter and set some expectations around when you can hear back. It's your career that you're looking forward to owning, so it's okay for you to also help own that process that you're going through with that company. And an offer being extended can take a little while. One of the things that we find happens quite frequently is candidates are reluctant to tell us what their expectations for salary is, and we encourage you to do so. We want to make sure that we're giving our best offer to you, and in order to do that, it is so helpful if we know what your expectations are. And we may not be able to meet your expectations, but we certainly can talk through those with you. If you say that it's a negotiable rate, it is a little bit of a challenge, because we may come back with something that you really really don't want. And so please be upfront with what you're looking for, what's important to you in either a salary or the benefits that you're going to be receiving from an organization. Those kinds of conversations you can have openly with your recruiter.
Go ahead. I was just going to ask a question about response time, meaning that there are times when you've selected people that you're reaching out to for a role. How much does the response time make a difference in terms of your engagement with that candidate?
Can I just clarify what you're asking? Are you asking if this is like a standard practice, or what are you looking for?
Well, sometimes people are slower to respond to inquiries, and other people are a lot more, just efficient with that. And does it make a difference from the recruiter seat?
It does. So, if we're seeking to network with a candidate or to get a candidate in for an interview, to get on the phone with a recruiter, we may be messaging a couple of people or several people in that case. And just like any other company, time kills deals, so to speak. And we're looking to get you in as quickly as we can, because we know that you're interested in a job and we are very interested in talking to you. And so the quicker you respond to us, the quicker we're able to make that happen.
Right. We've noticed that too, that when people have a high response time, it makes a difference in terms of the process and the speed in which we can get people in. So I think that's really important to check your email regularly and make sure that you've applied for positions and you want to stay on top of those inquiries. I had another question about the question of going through the back door, meaning everybody says, try to find somebody that works there and get your resume in front of them. Tell us about that.
Oh, that is for sure something that you should be doing. Networking should always be a part of what you do. When you're looking for a job or you're interested in a specific company, one of the things that can really set you apart is by connecting with people who already work at that company. And by all means, don't wait till you're looking for a job. Do that now. If there's a company that you've always wanted to work for, let's say you have always wanted to work for Fisher Investments, by all means, please be connecting with people through LinkedIn or other social media opportunities, or through groups or networking opportunities through SHRM or PERMA or other areas, because those people can be people who can recommend you. They can also pull back the curtain a little and tell you what it's like to work for that company. They can provide you with other connections that will help you to be seen quicker if you do apply for a job. Over 30% of most companies' hires come from referrals. That's a big chunk. So if you want to give yourself an advantage, be networking and building relationships within the companies you're most interested in.
Do you recommend going to senior level people, or I've heard a lot about people, the best approach is the job that you want. Look for people that have that job and ask them about how they got into Fisher Investments and inquire about, what they recommend that they do. And what would you recommend in that situation?
You know what, I do think that getting information from somebody who does a job that you're looking for is really great, and building that network and that relationship, but it doesn't have to be the only way to get in. You can connect with people in many different ways and different capacities of an organization. And as you build those relationships and they get more familiar with what you do, they will be very likely to want to recommend you for a job, because in most cases, good people want to be working next to good people. And so building those relationships helps them to say, gosh, you know what, this person would be great to have at this organization. They would be a great culture add here, and we would want this person. Their potential is so strong that we would not want to go without having an opportunity to see if this person would work here. So I would just highly recommend getting as involved and engaged with people from that company as possible.
Absolutely. So one other question I have is when people are hesitant to reach out to people they don't know, it's scary. Yeah. And so many times I'll receive LinkedIn links, LinkedIn invitations without a message. Do you recommend, I always think that's a missed opportunity, number one. Number two, do you, I feel that a lot of people do respond favorably to inquiries. What is your experience when you receive an email or an in-mail inviting you to connect, and they're asking for maybe 10 minutes of time? What is the best way to craft an in-mail?
I think it should be as authentic as possible. And when you don't want it to sound salesy, because that can really be off-putting to many people, but really be authentic and talk about what your intent of that conversation is. That really makes a difference. That genuine, personal feel and connection will go a long way towards building a partnership and a relationship with somebody, and also getting them to really want to be an advocate for you and have a conversation. One of the ways that I like to do this is I like to comment on things people post on LinkedIn. So if they post something that really connects with me, I'll comment on the article they posted or a quote that they put up there, or something, so that I'm starting to build a connection through alignment on things we like, or that we agree on. And then if I want to send a message to them later, they're more apt to respond to me because they've seen that I've made comments on things that they have shared before.
It's great advice.
Yeah, LinkedIn can really be a great tool for you. It's more than just articles to read and jobs to find. It's also just a great way to build your bigger network of your tribe. And we all need a tribe, and we all need very different versions of what that tribe would look like. You have your family tribe and your friend tribe and your work tribe, but then you also have your connection tribe. And it's up to you to build that with like-minded people in companies that you feel would be a company that you could see yourself working for.
So Laura's here. She looks like there's some questions.
Yeah, we had a few questions come in. I thought I'd pop in. This one comes from Cindy. If the system also requires that we complete an application, which does the ATS typically use for keywords? And just to add kind of on top of that, one question we've had come up is, should we do a PDF resume or should we do a Word resume?
You know, I'll answer the first question first. So I can't speak for every system, honestly, so this can actually answer both questions. Every applicant tracking system operates a little bit differently. And our applicant tracking system will pull keywords from the resume, as well as from the application that you do. But we do mini applications versus really lengthy ones. The lengthy ones will come later in the process. So the resume really is sort of that key document that will help us to see your skills and experience in alignment with the job we've posted. But not all systems are exactly like ours. So it could vary. You know, by all means, use some of those keywords in both. Would be my best recommendation for that. And the other one, PDF or Word, you know, I wish I was more technical on this to tell you which one was better. We see both come through. And I think the vast majority of them come through on Word. So I would say that's just our normal thing that we see, but I don't think either one is better than the other.
Okay, thank you. So this next question comes in from Jeff. Jeff asks, how do you handle when a recruiter isn't following up in a timely manner or kind of meeting their own expectations? How often do you check in? How do you manage that situation in a tactful way?
Yeah, that's such a great question. You know, I think in most organizations, they do encourage their recruiters to follow up regularly, although that may not happen for various reasons. And it's unfortunate when it doesn't. But I personally think that much like we would expect our recruiters to follow up pretty timely in like a, you know, each week or somewhere around that time frame, I would think that would be also okay for the candidate. If you're not hearing back, raise that up to somebody else in that department. So if that recruiter's got a manager and you can touch base with them, by all means, raise that up, because I know the expectation that I have for my team is that they're always connecting with those candidates that we are working with, so that they're always aware of where that process is going.
Mm-hmm. Great. And then Jeff also asked, is it okay, or at what part in the process is it okay to ask for the budgeted salary range just to see if the candidate falls in line with with what the organization has set?
You know, that's such an interesting question, because I know that many organizations will not share what that budgeted salary is, because they may have a range that is fairly large based on, you know, do you meet all the qualifications of that job? Do you have more qualifications in that job or less? So that range can be very wide. So that's why it's most important for you to share your expectations of what you're looking for when you're coming in. That will help that recruiter to be able to advocate for you if you meet the expectations of that job and the range that you're requesting.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay, and then Cheryl says, job descriptions often contain many redundant words and synonyms
Okay.
that I need to add in order to get over 80% on an ATS match, but I feel like it weakens the content of my resume. Do you have any suggestions?
I think the biggest suggestion that I could give you would be to look at the key drivers within that job post. So if the job post is asking for somebody who has dynamic experience with SAP implementation, it's not the word dynamic that we're looking for. It definitely is the SAP implementation. So really hone in on the words that are going to be most valuable, and pick, you know, I'd say those 5 to 10 words max that are really going to push you up to the top of that list of people who meet the most of our qualifications, because you'll find that would be mostly in the requirements section. So those requirements are going to be those words that are going to be most important.
Great. All right, Melanie asks, how have you seen the job hiring process change since COVID-19? And do you have any tips to help job seekers navigate those changes?
Yeah, the job hiring, interviewing and hiring process has definitely changed. The interview process itself has changed the most. How we post jobs, how we find candidates, source candidates, reach out passively through job boards like LinkedIn, that really hasn't changed all that much. But our interview process has changed drastically, and it really has created a need for both our interview teams as well as candidates to be a little more professionally savvy and prepared for what is likely to be an interview process entirely done over video. And it's not something that most people are very comfortable with, although I think over the last 6 months, we've probably gotten a lot more comfortable with video than we ever have before. Things like platforms like Zoom and Microsoft Teams have really enabled that to happen, as well as things like Facebook Live and others. But how you set yourself up for success as a candidate when you're in the interview process will really make all the difference. Really paying attention to the small details, like what does your background look like? Making sure it's you know, it's a very clean, crisp, not a lot of excess or not a lot of things that could be taken out of context. You know, no signs behind you that are political or talk about alcohol or, yeah, I mean, you know, you just really got to be careful about what you've got behind you. That's really important. And you need to show up dressed professionally. Although we are working from home, in most cases, you're going to be doing this video call from your home, maybe from a car. You still need to look the part. And that's really important, because the recruiter or the hiring manager or the interview team on the other end of that video will still be looking at you as somebody. What does this person fit into what we do? Do they fit the part? And part of that is how you show up, both with your knowledge as well as your professionalism. So you'll want to make sure that you're presenting the most professional image that you can, and preparing by understanding what that job is and being able to relate your experience into that job. So sharing your experience and allowing that interviewer to ask you questions about your experience, and you you're giving them details, because many companies, including Fisher, use a behavioral style interviewing. So we're really looking for examples of your experience so that we can see if how you work will also relay over into how we work. And so that's really important.
Great. Okay, and then the last question before I pass it back to Lauren and to you, Robyn. What's more important, a resume or my LinkedIn profile, or is it sort of a mix of both?
Oh, yeah. I don't know, Lauren, you might actually have a better answer for this one than I do. We look at LinkedIn profiles, but the resume that you submit into our applicant tracking system is our main guide for as far as a company goes. But Lauren, have you found anything different in your world?
They're both important, and we feel it's important to have a couple of things. One is, we talked about this yesterday on the seminar that we did yesterday, that the right title under your name is very important. And when recruiters are looking for talent and in a passive recruiting situation, we will look for certain titles. And if the title is not necessarily something that we typically see, it's harder for us to find you. So we think it's important to not get too creative with the titles and to stay with what is typically the norm. We also think having a picture, no picture, just, it's harder to connect, especially in this video world, this world that we're in now, that it just helps us connect to individuals. So we feel a photo is important instead of having just nothing, which we see fairly regularly.
How do you feel, Lauren, about somebody who has under their picture, it says, looking for my next job or looking for an opportunity rather than a job title? Does that help or hurt?
I think both, actually. HR, project manager looking for my next opportunity. So that is also very, very helpful. And also, I think LinkedIn now has a tag that you can show open for work, which is helpful as well.
Yeah, that's really helpful. I know we have sourcing specialists on our team who they are looking to connect with people who match some of the jobs that we have. And if you are showing on your job profile that you are open to connecting or open to looking for other opportunities, that really helps them to reach out to you sooner.
Yeah, and I think, and again, when I mentioned earlier about making sure you check your email and your phone regularly for updates from the companies that you've submitted your resume to, same for LinkedIn. Many times we're in a situation where someone's open to work and we reach out to them multiple times and we're not hearing back. And we always, and if the individual has already taken a position and is no longer interested in connecting, then just let us know. It's really nice to hear from people, just so we have that opportunity to kind of close the loop there. And I wanted to add, before we were getting close to our end today, but one thing is that one of the hardest things for recruiters and companies to do is to let a candidate know they won't be moving to the next round, or that they weren't selected for the role, maybe if they're a finalist. It is excruciating. That's just one of the tough parts of our role. And I find that it's very important. I know, Robyn, you could probably speak to this. When that happens, it's hard on everyone. At the same time, we think it's very important to send a note to the individual. For example, if we're representing the candidate, and we let them know the news that they wouldn't be that they're not selected, we think it's critical that that individual send a thank you to the person they were in touch with at that company. And the reason why that's important is that when you have disappointing news, it's always important to reconnect and to let the individual know that you appreciated their time and the opportunity to be considered.
Yeah, absolutely. That goes a long way for several reasons. It opens the door for that recruiter to say, you know what, I'm going to keep thinking about this person in the future. which we all want, and it also helps to build the network for you as the candidate, that ongoing network where you have somebody you can reach out to, and you have a company that that if you're interested, they're going to be very open to hearing from you in the future should your situation change.
Absolutely.
And so building those partnerships with those personal touches, again, going back to the very beginning, kind of really ties the bow on creating that genuine, authentic relationship.
Absolutely. Thanks for saying that.
Well, believe it or not, it's already 12:30. It went by very fast. I know we had some questions that we weren't able to get to today, so I'm going to see if we can maybe include some answers to those in a follow-up email to all of our attendees today, because there were some extra good ones that came in here at the end. Just really quickly, these are our upcoming career conversations. We will send out an email invite for all of these so you can register. We have an exciting lineup coming up. We're going to be going into early December. And then this is how you can stay in touch with us. So I would encourage you to connect to Lauren and Robyn and myself on LinkedIn. We'd love to connect with you there. And just in closing, thank you for choosing to fly with Mulberry today. We know you have a lot of options for webinars, and so we really appreciate your time and value that you're joining us. So thank you again, Robyn and Lauren, for a really informative conversation today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.